Tonight, we talk New World, Chris Pratt's new plumbing gig, how many nipples are in Bayonetta, what the hell a Splatoon is, and how wet can we get our beavers.
This is Nick, and I hold a world record in beard touch any percent speedrun.
Hi, I'm Josh, now unlockable on Smash Bros.
My name's Russ. I fluff limp lightsabers.
My name's Andy. Welcome to Video Game Tango.
So I noticed today that Netflix acquired Night School Studios, which is a game development company.
Oxenfree, I believe.
They made Oxenfree. Has anybody played Oxenfree?
I have not.
It's the sequel to Ollie Ollie.
No.
Oh, okay, then no.
Ollie Ollie, I think, is actually a game, though, but that's a whole side thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I watched one of my indie YouTubers play the first 15, 20 minutes of it back in a while.
I played it. I actually beat it. Surprisingly
Yeah.
enough, I was surprised. I'm like, oh, fuck. I don't play a lot of indie games, so.
This is one of these choices matter kind of.
It was like a puzzle game as far as like you had to figure out what was going on this island because you like opened up this ghost rift thing.
You don't want that.
It was enjoyable. Apparently it was lauded because it had like a really good soundtrack to it, but I don't recall. It was at least entertaining enough that I played it and short enough that my entertainment didn't wane before I beat the game. So
It's good.
It definitely has like multiple endings.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's really good for a puzzle game.
Yeah.
I'm not puzzle gaming audience, so it's rare when I find one. I'm like, this ended at the right time.
Yeah.
You know,
I was actually just kind of surprised. I mean, this is the first time hearing about Netflix doing any sort of game development.
Yeah.
But it's not the first time, that Netflix has been doing. Like they've apparently been making some mobile games based off of like the Stranger Things franchise.
Okay.
As far as I could tell, I don't think that they were available here on our Android store. Like they opened it up.
I feel like I would have seen that. I checked the Google Play Store weekly.
Yeah, and then like more recently, I think they expanded their market for where that game's available. Those games are available, but now it sounds like they literally had a guy that was being interviewed for the article that they were talking about as their lead video game developer. So it's like they've clearly got a division behind it.
Yeah, I quickly looked at their not librarium. What's the word? Discography? Catalog.
I like Librarium.
Yeah. These seem like a lot of kind of choices matter, choose your own adventure, puzzle style games.
Yeah, and it ties into the fact that we're going to talk about New World tonight because New World is made by Amazon.
Yeah.
And so Amazon's jumping, feet first, head first, however you want to look at it.
Bezos.
Wallet first, I guess, depending on how much they spent. And now Netflix is also getting in the market. It's not something that I would have ever expected to see growing up because growing up, video games were always niche, and it was very rare when we get like a external media that was somehow based on video games, and 9 times out of 10 it was hot trash.
Yeah.
Blood Rain, Mario.
I feel it's I feel it's less weird for Amazon to be in on the game.
That depends on how you look at it.
They started off as like
They sold
stuff.
Books.
They sold stuff. Yeah, right. And then it became other stuff. I mean, like I don't know. They've already switched genres, So I'm just saying it seems less.
I mean, in the context of modern day Amazon, where it looks like they just want to do everything possible.
Yeah, like
they literally want to be everything.
Yeah,
so.
it's like they have airplanes and
they
I
want
thought
brick
it was
and mortar
weird
grocery stores
when it was Amazon Prime and it wasn't just for deliveries, but they had TV shows and they were making their own content. I thought that was weird, but like I don't know, that was fucking ages ago. So now it's just like, oh, Amazon's breaking into a new thing. It just doesn't. Yeah,
I guess. I don't think it's like
seem as phase
like startling, but I mean, it's still kind of unusual. I think to think of. So Amazon now that they're established as like a streaming service comparable to Netflix and stuff, then you're like, okay, they're in the digital content creation market, but it's not a next logical leap to say that they're going to go into making video games,
right?
Like that's
especially like jumping into AAA titles and not something like mobile gaming.
I see what you're saying, but just the simple fact that they're like, oh, I'm gonna do this new thing, and it just seems less weird than Netflix trying to like do gaming than
Well,
Amazon. You know, I don't know.
The
maybe I'm
Netflix
just-
path seems like the more logical, like Andy was just kind of hinting at and stuff, is that they worked into like some mobile games. Now they've
they're
acquired an
popular
independent,
title,
an independent studio. So they're not. I mean, fuck, Amazon's like, here's a hopefully multi-million player MMO with a cutting edge graphics engine and server support and all this jazz. And then Netflix is coming along. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna make some video games too, guys.
Yep.
Video games make a lot of money.
I mean, that's probably the crux of it, right? It's now that video games have blown up and are so iconic to just culture in general that they're let's try to
Amazon
make some
can just
money
throw
on this.
that big dick money around though. So I don't know. I just feel eventually Amazon's where it's going to all be. It's all going to be Amazon.
You know what always confuses me about
They're gonna be in everything.
You figure you could easily say the same thing like Netflix is going to throw its big dick money around too, right? I don't
Netflix
understand
doesn't
how
have the
Netflix
same
has money.
I don't understand. Like, Netflix doesn't have the same kind of big dick money as Amazon does.
Well,
though.
I mean, nobody does. It's
Nobody
Amazon,
does,
but
yeah.
but still, like Netflix just seems like they're constantly in the news for spending a shitload of money.
they make a lot of fucking money.
Do they though?
I think so.
They spend
spend
a lot of money.
It seems they spend a lot more than it seems
Yeah.
like they should have be coming in because
I mean, if they're spending that much, don't they have to have at least that much coming in?
According to
that's not how
Werewolf Facts,
the world works at all.
According to Werewolf Facts.
according to werewolffacts.com/how does Netflix make money, from the massive amount of subscribers between $9 and $16 a month.
yeah.
182.8 million paying subscribers reported sometime in the recent past.
So then the low end
2020.
of that is $9 a month.
Times
Almost
182 million, so grossing $1 billion at minimum.
A year?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Mystery solved.
Thank you, werewolffacts.com.
Saved again.
Always coming in clutch.
I know it does really seem like Netflix all the time is just they're in the news about like, oh, we bought a bunch more IPs and we're going to make a bunch more exclusive content.
It's an
and now-
interesting tack to take. I mean, you think about older movie studios and whatnot pre-internet era, how they would acquire licenses to publish this or show that, and Netflix is like, you have an idea, like two brain cells rub together, we're buying it, and we're going to make that a show for one season and then probably not do anymore. So whether that's good or bad aside, like it's certainly a tactic, and they're doing the hell out of it, you know.
I wonder, like, you'd assume they'd get a lot of good analytics out of what people are watching because it's all streaming content, right? So if you stream a show, there's a record of you streaming that show.
Oh yeah, I'm sure every time you use their app, they're monitoring everything, the amount of time you spend looking at a given preview, you know, all that.
So
stuff.
you have to ask yourself, what is their metric of success that they keep not making multiple seasons of these shows?
Twitter feeds.
I mean,
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
How much
cancel
hate
culture.
do they get?
I assume it's probably just watch time. I mean,
it's got to be watch time, number of watches,
Yeah.
number of repeated binging episodes, right? So
especially when they can compare it to the rest of their own catalog.
a lot of people also have really bad taste, I think, and so it tilts the scale unfavorably towards bad productions.
Yeah.
So are we just gonna wade into New World? Should we just?
bad taste. I thought we
Whoa.
were talking about your pen.
Yeah. Nice segue there, Smooth McGee. Josh's like, I'm tired. I want to talk about New World.
No, let's talk about New World. Come
Netflix
on.
is dumb.
Shut the fuck up.
Amazon was in that part of the conversation. It works. You said New World first. I waited. That's
I mean,
fine.
we could have brought it back around, but instead you're just like,
I'm gonna.
fucking jailbreak this shit back to go New World town.
Speaking of movies and TV,
I like Jaybreak.
Jailbreak.com. Check it out.
/ Werewolf Facts.
What?
Other way around.
yeah.
You get to jailbreak.
We've been
through
there multiple
Werewolf
times
Facts.
now.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Werewolf Facts is the portal to all knowledge.
I got excited, and I put my Jaybreak before my Werewolf Facts, and now it's all fucked up.
Yes. All right. So Joshua, I forget how I point at him because cameras.
Can you hear
Jo-
Russ's finger?
Joining us in the PC Master Race world.
Yeah, it was my first weekend in, and you know, as an adult white male, when you say I joined the master race, that hits the ear funny. Let me tell you, you got to add the implicit in gaming in there. But yeah, no, I got my first PC. Very excited. And I joined my first MMO. Much to Andy's chagrin, it was not WoW.
Within one day, you already didn't want to go to work.
Yeah, within one day, I was right to avoid them for so long. Is what this is telling me, but also how very wrong I was
About
playing on the console. That is not enough. That is not enough. I was wrong for years.
gave you a taste.
About 20 years?
Yep,
Just took a while.
a real while. There's memories of you trying to get me to play WoW on Facebook. So, but I made it.
You wisely stayed
in a
away.
different game.
You know, you're one of the fewest that made it the longest in college, and I think there's a direct correlation.
Probably. Yeah. I stuck with WoW. Didn't go to college.
Well, I mean,
I might not have a bachelor's, but I know how to run a pub 40 man.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
You'd know if you had joined.
Okay,
Yeah, dude,
that's
come
fine.
on.
Yeah,
Years ago.
paramedic. Get out of here. What do you like about New World so far?
What I like about it so far is how fucking realistic it is. Waiting in that queue must have been just like riding the boat over to the actual
they have
new fucking world.
The like velvet ropes and whatnot?
No, it's dark and it rocks back and forth. No, it was dark and a number counted down, but it was that joke was actually brought to you by Andrew Henselman.
That was good.
We were talking, and I told him I was going to steal it, and he said I could, as long as I mentioned him, because he wants to be like he's here in spirit. Yes. He's kind of like Beetlejuice. If you say his name too much, he may pop up. So anyway, but it was I don't know, my first time, like when I walked into that first town, and like because I played some Overwatch. I've been in a
You played Fallout.
I've played things.
I play games.
I've been in menus and seen people waiting and shit like that, but like just the raw amount of people in one town on this one thing, like.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't know where you were going with that.
No, dude, I had to.
My first town, and
Well, yeah,
I had to. Like the
that's
first
right,
time,
that's
yeah,
like the first time I walked in and just saw like 500 people walking around in the one town. I was just like, oh my god,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Honestly, it's so.
It's been a long
Yeah,
time.
it's,
no,
it's
I'm
old
like-
hat.
It's
Yeah.
an MMO that's just going to be like random
Yep.
people with dumb names running around.
Yeah,
and-
I was just like, I mean, people were inviting me to join companies. It was very exciting. I almost became a shame pusher.
That is
But
also
Elaborate.
the Moist Boys.
dude, that is so fucking cool. Because I remember the first time over at Nick's house, I roll a dwarf in World of Warcraft. And I do the like hour, 2 hours of leveling in the starting zone, and then you end up in Ironforge, and just walking into Ironforge and being like,
Music hits you.
these are all real people. Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no, dude,
and look
it
how
was-
huge this world is. It's crazy. Never seen anything like it before.
it was,
Yeah.
I literally had to stop and just like soak it in
Take
for
it
a
all in.
second. Like I was viewing a natural vista or something. It was,
Yeah.
it was really weird. It was definitely a new experience for me. And I kind of bummed I waited so long to get into it, man. But
At least
I'm here now.
At least
I'm
you
here
recognize
now.
that moment. You're going to have a lot of those, but you only get them once.
Yeah, you only get them like, and I got to have that. That's kind of neat. That's
What's
kind of
going to
neat.
be, I'm looking forward to, is getting to live vicariously through you playing some of my favorite games that
Yeah,
I
that's
wish
gonna
I
be
could
fun.
go back and play for the first time
Look
again.
forward to that, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little more
Subnautica
excited. Just
on
as
there.
like that's a prime example of thinking I would not have thought to be wowed by the people there, but you bring a new light to that because it's
Right?
new to you. That's pretty cool.
Are they going to have 20? Are they going to have raids in New World? Is he going to get experience like
So
doing a?
they have 50 on 50 war parties.
Okay.
So when you
And-
go to take another faction's territory, you declare war on them.
Gave me a case of
and
the
then
tingles.
you assemble what companies that you're going to take to that war, and
those
you
are
actually,
guilds?
it actually forms a separate camp settlement outside of your fort. It's called a war camp.
Okay.
Where you can go there. I don't know what you do there because I'm not privy. I just saw it
Haven't done
while
it
I was
yet.
out there.
Jenga.
But it popped up like it wasn't there the first time I was out by
Yeah.
this fort, and then we declared war against a faction, and literally like the whole pillared, spiky fence things,
Okay.
or New World or old America style, and big ass tents, and You go in there, and in the trailers and I think some of the videos online, you can see like all the people will be like sitting around listening to their commanders about their game plan for their war strats and stuff. And it's got proximity voice, which
I didn't get into that.
I haven't turned it on,
but
mine's been on. You don't get it for the first couple levels. They just don't let you use it for
Probably for the
obvious
best.
reasons.
yeah.
But I'd have to say the times that I've heard it used, and I would recommend, side note, go into your menu, you want to turn up the volume of other players. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to hear them sometimes. But every game that I've ever played where they have a proximity voice chat, it never works correctly. It always seems fucking janky. This one seems to be working pretty great.
That's actually one of the biggest problems so far with the game is disconnecting from the VoIP client. I've gotten that error a couple times, and then a lot of people are just saying that it isn't working for them. So to hear that it's working for you is good news. At least that's kind of proof of concept that it is working.
it does work.
Yeah. I didn't even know that mine was like had turned on after that initial like non-phase and stuff until I had other people start trying to engage me in conversation. Now the amusing thing is it's an MMO. 90% of the players are garbage people,
Right.
of whom I have no interest in conversing with. So, and I should say garbage people because there's a good chunk of just kids that I want to talk to, and all that jazz. But it's a neat feature. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was going to address something else and I forgot what it was.
How you mine for fish in New World?
So with a
Rocket
fishing pole.
spears.
Oh, my bad.
No.
I was uneducated in this subject.
It's
No, and it's the fishing pole, like the fishing aspect of the game is actually kind of neat. They go a little bit more in depth than your classic MMO where you just draw, cast a line and hit a button when it comes on. You get it.
You have to buy tags.
No, so you get different baits.
You do
You
get
do have to
tax,
tax.
though.
So you actually bait your hooks with different types of stuff. You have different types of fishing poles as far as quality and stuff goes.
I haven't gotten one yet. I have found bait though.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
But then you active cast, so it has a little meter that pops up, goes up and down to try to long cast
Time
or
it.
short cast. It's not a timing thing. It's just how far out you want to cast because you're going to have to reel that length back in. So when you do that, it pops out with a little icon, just shows you have a bobber. And then it'll shake to let you know that like you're getting bites, but it's telling you to get ready to click. And then it'll pop up when you need to click with a little timer bar that like quickly goes away, in which case you hook the fish. Then it switches over to you reeling it in, in which case it has like a tension meter as it's gauging how far out it is. Obviously like other fishing games, if it gets too tight, the fish is going to snap the line.
Yeah.
The fish. So like I said, most time you click cast, you click a bobber, and that's about the extent of fishing in most other games. So I don't know if that's great for an activity that's already like kind of irritating to do.
The thing is, is fishing itself a skill, or is that just a further cooking
Harvesting or cooking?
Yeah.
Well, I assume you get the fish from it, which you
I think
can then
fishing
cook.
is a skill.
Yeah, it does have its own tool slot. So
It does.
oh
yeah.
my god, that's another thing that I thought was awesome. The tools, each one, you don't have to click to change the tools. Each tool has its own slot. I'm easily impressed right now.
No,
So,
that's actually a
keep it up.
substantial quality
It's
of
a-
life
yeah.
improvement over a lot of games.
Big time.
Like it doesn't take up an inventory slot. It has its own very specific slot for that tool. I'm pretty sure it doesn't count against your weight limit when you equip stuff to those toolbars.
Which is also awesome.
Yes, it's very awesome. Because I know that applies to like your mana and your rations and stuff like that. So if you equip them to your active bar slots, they no longer count in your weight inventory. I assume you're magically levitating them next to you because that makes sense.
It's in the secret pocket.
My biggest complaint that I have, and we discussed it a little bit while we were playing, is that you have external storage for your stuff, like your own bank, essentially. It's like a little fucking storage closet. But it's individual to every settlement. So if you put stuff in this settlement and you're somewhere else, you don't have access to that storage.
Yeah.
And Andrew's talking about how he actually enjoys that because it adds a level of like forethought and planning that you have to have. And I mean, I can't argue that it adds like a bit of niche complexity to it.
Yeah.
But to me, that strikes me as like a bad quality of life choice when you're
Yeah.
designing a video game, just because they don't have mounts. You can't just instantly teleport from city to city without expending a resource to fast travel. And so you really are just going to probably get frustrated that
yeah.
you've left something halfway across the map in another fucking storage box. But
The more you're carrying, too, the more it costs you to teleport from fast travel location to fast travel location.
yeah.
So if you need to move a lot of resources from point A to point B so you can combine them for crafting or whatever, it's going to cost you more resources to fast travel.
Yeah, I literally had that example happen today to where so all my stuff was being stored in the initial settlement we get to, and I want to move to the settlement that our syndicate,
that you
our
got
faction, well, that our faction has. Well, yeah. To be fair,
Yeah.
you land in different areas depending. It's just random on where you go. But our syndicate, one of the 3 factions that you choose in the game, claimed a territory. So I want to do most of my stuff there because we get bonuses and stuff while we're doing them there. So it's like I got to pack mule all my stuff over to this other settlement. So I load it all out, and I'm vastly encumbered. My character can't move, but it's like, that's fine. I'm going to fast travel over and I'll slow walk my way over to my storage box. It upped the cost of the fast travel so much. I didn't have enough of the Azoth.
Azoth, yeah.
To travel.
Go juice. Yes.
I also had no idea how we were even accumulating Azoth. It just seemed like we were just getting it from somewhere.
I think the initial in quest actually gave you the 200.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm almost positive it's those like storyline quests now, but at the time, like, I'm not watching.
Collect a little bit from everybody that you kill.
I mean,
I'm walking up to my quest giver, I'm hitting E repeatedly, and then I'm running off and doing the next thing.
yeah, exactly.
I'm reading a lot of things still.
Well, you're new to MMOs.
As you
Okay,
should.
so
Yeah.
Go ahead. read it.
I'm really I'm reading things.
Yeah.
I only try to pay attention to the main storyline stuff. Like when I'm going to fucking Joe the Fisher Butch.
The Fisher Butch.
He's a fisherman butcher. That's what you call him.
Oh, yes.
The Fitcher.
And
He's like, hey, man, I need some bear asses.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever.
Before we
that's like those guys. I'll probably start doing that. But like anything that's like main storyline related, I'm kind of looking forward to like following and getting into.
it.
So
Yeah, well, I want to know what this fucking world's about and
Yeah.
doing. I don't want to be at the end game raid boss and being like, why are we here again?
what's a Hamadon?
Jesus.
Before
What
we
is a
lose the subject, it sounds like they took a lot of pages from Albion Online, which I could rant about for days. But in their system, it's a pretty heavily player-driven economy. You cannot fast travel. All of your stuff is stored per town. Each town's in a zone, and the zone's surrounded by zones. But the whole deal is the game's mostly, almost entirely about gathering and crafting skills in PvP.
Yeah.
And
No, you're talking about Albion.
Albion Online.
Oh, okay. So far, yeah, it sounds pretty accurate.
So you have to carry all your shit like to a different place if you want, but each place has their own unique auction house. So if I go to the West Shore and gather the type of fish that's only available here, I can lug that shit 3 towns away and it'll sell 5 times higher than it will at that town where the fish is spawning, because that's how the player economy works, right? So people can make money by buying low, selling high. It's a direct draw of Albion, as if you want to just make money in this game as a merchant, you can do that. Not counting all the Russian mobsters and everything that's been happening over the last couple of years with that game, but it's a side note.
We'll have to check that because I don't know if
I don't know if that's
auction
how it
houses-
works.
yeah.
If the auction houses are connected, then then it's just kind of a pain in the ass. But if they're individual to town, then you could essentially try to buy low and sell high by carting goods around.
Now,
That's
I
a good
definitely
point.
think that like it's not really that big of a deal because I assume I've already gotten like I went from having no Azoth, so fast traveling was kind of like, should I do it or should I just run the distance to this point?
Is
and
this
then
Azoth just fast travel currency?
no,
It's used for other stuff.
It's for us right now. It's the only thing we're really using it for, but it does come into play in other stuff. I think like respecking and some of your crafting stuff. Like I already know now that
currency.
you can add Azoth to your crafts to increase the chances of them having some sort of uncommon trait.
Okay.
So yeah, you'll use it a lot. Even in the intro videos we watched, they talked about how you have a maximum of 1,000 that you can carry on your person. So you're going to want to spend it, and the game gives you a bunch of ways to spend it. Not very clear on how you accumulate it, but my theory is that it's as you progress more storyline missions or just our story quests. That's me. Sorry.
Okay.
But I went from having almost none to like I did like 2 or 3 quests, not even entirely sure which ones they were, and suddenly I had like 700. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't have to worry about this too much. Just got to make sure that I am doing what I need to keep accumulating more. It's not like I had to go out and mine it or wait for it to pop up.
That's good. I read a lot of reviews, and they cover the whole rainbow from no to this is amazing, right? But from the most level-headed, it seemed like the general opinion is this game is something to look at in like a year. A lot of people are thinking this is going to probably blow up if Amazon keeps pumping money into it, because their most major complaint I heard was that there's not much to do. Like if you're not in there for the standard MMO grinding, you very quickly run out of content. So that's an easy fix.
What would you think a timeline is for when you run out of content? Like after you hit max level?
I mean, if they don't have well-developed PvP systems or endgame PvE raids, that's kind of the standard endgame MMO stuff, and I don't know if they have that yet or not. But that was the number one complaint I was getting from people who weren't just being dicks online, was that I feel like I'm already running out of content to do. I have no idea how far these people got into the game, but
I'm curious. Yeah. I didn't look into how much.
Stormy G 123, yo, what's up, dude?
I'm not entirely sure how much in the betas that they had. Did people get actively to the end game in the betas?
I imagine so. I don't know. I could not tell you.
From what I understand, yes.
Okay. So at least some experience. I definitely think it's not a game where it's like you need to wait a year to play it. I think it's going to be look at this game at a year.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to get at.
And it's going to determine whether or not it's a success or it's just another MMO flop, because it'll definitely be what they do going forward that makes or breaks the game. Because in my opinion, right now it's solid.
Yeah,
it's going really smoothly. They got a lot of flack and people making jokes and memes about their launch day or the queue times, but I've played a lot of games at launch time. Amazon fucking killed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like having to wait to log into your game is not a launch day problem. Yeah. That's just something you come to expect because the population's high. People want to play on servers. You got fucking streamers that are playing on specific servers that like lock those ones up real fast. But we like didn't have game crashes. Didn't have to do server resets.
That's really surprising.
Didn't have to have there wasn't like a shitload of game-breaking bugs that people are running into in the first like 2 days now of the game. Like by all accounts, like from my own personal experience, they had a phenomenal launch.
Must have had a good beta then.
Well, that's the thing.
Used the beta for beta purposes.
Yeah. They've done like I think essentially like 3 different beta periods because the game's changed, it's evolved, and then they also pushed back the timeline. Like I think this game was originally slated to come out in like the spring. They pushed it back twice.
Well, they've pushed it back a lot of times because this revision of New World is completely different than the vision they had originally. I mean, it's been like 3 different games at this point.
It's supposed to come out in May, then delayed to August, and delayed to spring, then it was delayed to August, and with, now September 28th.
Yeah, with how much fun I'm
over
having.
2 years.
I'm see, like I go both ways on a game delay. Like if it's for a good reason, like I want a good game, so I'm fine with waiting.
All I heard was that you go both ways.
Yeah. Like the thing with Cyberpunk 2077, that's old news now at this point, but like some of those people got literal death threats against their families against for a game not dropping on time. And then when it did drop, they got literal death threats against their family because people were unhappy with the game because it wasn't what they expected. So let them finish the fucking game.
I don't really understand why anybody gets upset about getting a fucking death threat from somebody online about that shit. If the person's dumb enough that they're death threatening you online and they're complaining about stuff like, oh, you delayed your game so that it would be better when it came out, that person's not going to be able to kill you.
There's been some
they're
doxing
going to trip
and shit,
walking
though.
out the front door every morning.
There's been doxing and whatnot.
Yeah. You get people getting malicious. They can scare you. If these people have any social media presence, they pretty much have to stop.
I mean, like, it's the same person is what I'm saying. Like, the same person who's pissed off that the game isn't coming out on time is the same person that's pissed off because the game wasn't what they expected.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, it's the same fucking guy. And,
how many times has it happened that
his name is Chase?
Like, somebody's been physically harmed following being threatened online. Like it's,
I don't know. I personally don't know of any. But the
if it's ever
doxing
happened,
happens.
it's just it feels like
doxing's giving away their personal information, like
Yeah.
who they are, where they live. Okay,
I
well,
don't know.
that's,
and then that furthers harassment. I mean, so for like big name developers, CEOs, the C-suite and stuff, they have had people like show up at their house, leave threatening letters, weird packages. So I mean, there's also been a reasonable amount of swatting against these guys as well. So, I mean, while I don't know that anybody has died or been harmed, it really fucks with their life, you know?
You also have to consider the angle
I
that
don't
some of
know,
these people
it's-
are women,
it
and
just
they get all that later on
I
top.
don't know. It's just that toxic fandom. Being a Star Wars fan, I have to deal with that a lot. But
I mean, I'm not saying that's like it's
I don't know, it's
okay
just the
or
toxic.
that it
Yeah, no.
happens
I'm
and
not.
stuff
I'm
like
not.
that.
I'm not saying that you're saying that or anything like that. It's just. I was thinking about it. It's like, well, I'm glad they delayed it because I'm having so much. I'm having so much fun that I went on a side fucking roll there or a side roll there because like. It makes me angry. I was thinking about it earlier today, but
It just makes me wonder if it's an example, and I could very much be wrong because I haven't looked into it, that we think that a problem exists because we hear about it a lot, but it's a product of the sensationalized media that we live in these days.
Oh, I'm sure there's...
Because I always think about like a numbers situation. You know, you hear about this murder that happens in a place, and then you think about how many murders happen every day. Or, you know, you hear about somebody getting swatted, but like in relation to the actual community, if that happens to one person, is it news when there's 300 million people that one person it happened to? I don't know.
Semi-related is the stuff that happened during the Boston Marathon. Reddit got all up in arms and chased down the wrong guy.
Right.
And that caused a bunch of trouble for the family. He got wrongly accused. I mean, this is something you'd have to look into to find, individual reports.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's never happened to me, so I guess I just have to assume that it's something you have to deal with as it happens. You know, because I on surface level, I think about like, man, if somebody's making death threats on me or trying to give out my personal information, I'd just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean...
Fucking whatever, dude.
I've gotten death threats just because I can't people in World of Warcraft. But when it turns into like, well, they find your Twitter and then they find your Facebook and then...
Got a new fan, man.
You know, sure, yeah. I mean, if you can turn that around or whatever.
Fucking
but,
follow us on Twitch, bro.
You know, well, yeah. Please.
We need the
smash that
support.
like button with your hate.
There's no like button on Twitch, Josh. You need to Twitch more.
Okay, so
You need.
He's just
sorry,
trying-
sir.
You're not
You
twitching
need.
enough.
You need a second monitor. It's already time. It's
Yep.
already
it is.
time.
It is. Just finish killing Mike with jealousy if I get a second monitor.
Oh my god. Poor Mike.
Do we want to talk about how Nintendo fucked up in way A or way B?
Oh, I thought we were going to go back to New World again.
Oh, you guys still have...
I'm gonna wade right
Oh
in.
god,
Rasa.
we can go back and forth. With
We don't
New
have
World all
to.
day.
I mean,
I'm down to keep talking New World, or we
can circle back,
we'll circle back. We'll circle the wagon.
which is a thing you do in New World a lot.
Circle around, yeah.
You keep coming back.
Bring it around town.
But speaking of break, you guys ready for a break?
Already
Sure.
break time?
Jesus,
Yeah.
break time already.
Not quite. Not
Andy
quite,
just wants to
but,
play
you know,
New World. Let's get this
Kind
shit
of.
over with.
Boot it up, yeah.
Kind of a little bit.
I've got lisks to croc.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. We'll
Oh, there was a crocolisk. I killed one.
Oh, that's true. There was a crocolisk. They have. Well,
They
I
had
mean,
six-legged crocodiles.
no.
It's not crocodiles.
It was a
They're
big black
crocodiles.
crocodile, and I killed it.
Werewolfanswers.com.
looking. I got scared
How
the
many
first time I saw
legs
it.
does a croc?
It's 6. It's classically 6. Crocolisks have 6 legs.
Crocosis
Go,
licks.
go, go.
We'll be right back.
So I hear a really cool guy is going to be Mario in the new Sonic movie.
Mario, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got Chris Pratt in playing Mario in the new animated Mario movie.
Traditional fat Italian plumber.
Yep.
The internet did not disappoint. I saw an opening video of Guardians of the Galaxy with the Mario theme song and him kicking those little womp rat looking motherfuckers as Goombas.
Yeah.
And he just said a couple of Mario phrases. He's a me. Yeah. It was, he's a spicy meatball. It was
Does
great.
not say that.
I don't know. I haven't played Mario in a while, homie.
He says wah, and wahoo.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Who else we got? We got I think the Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
I think that's fine.
I like that. I just want to. I could listen to that laugh all day.
Me too.
And coming out of DK, it's gonna be amazing.
There's been a lot of mashups of YouTube of his laugh and Donkey Kong doing stuff. It gets weirder from there. Charlie Day as Luigi was an interesting choice.
If we keep just doing this, I'm just gonna do all of my impressions of what I think their character's gonna.
Perfect.
Okay.
Why do we always go after the same princess? She's always leaving with the same guy. You know,
That leads right into Keegan Michael Key being Toad, which
That's the one I love the most.
Keegan's done a lot, but I loved his translations for Obama, the White House dinners. Mm-hmm. So I'm picturing this little angry, coked out Toad just, going full rum ham on people. It's going to be weird. Fred Armisen is Cranky Kong.
Oh, that's the old man. That's the old man Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
It's,
Okay.
I love Fred Armisen.
Yeah.
I didn't watch The Queen's Gambit, so I have no knowledge of Anya Taylor-Joy.
She's also been in other things.
No, she hasn't.
Yes, she has.
It's the only thing she's done so far.
Literally it.
Check Werewolf Facts.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
/ Anya Taylor-Joy.
If the movie is a flop, it is going to be mildly saved by Jack Black being Bowser.
Only if we get a metal Bowser song. Like, I mean,
How do
I don't
we
understand how
not-
any of this works. I mean, trying to picture this cast of people
know.
voicing Mario characters, I'm like, what even is this?
It's going to
I'll
be
tell you what that
bizarre.
is. It's, are we
I'm waiting for you
allowed
to tell me what this is.
Well, I just don't, I've already dropped an F-bomb and I don't
Who
even
the
know.
fuck cares?
Okay, well, it's that big dick energy is what that fucking is, dude. Sorry. I was just like, if
Some of
we're
the
gonna-
BDE.
Yeah, it's big dick energy. It's just saying, hey, you guys remember that Mario movie? Please don't. But if you do, here's this cast. Look at all this. Look at it. Look at it.
You could play 2 hours of just somebody streaming any Mario game and you beat the original Mario movie.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
I found
but
it just
really
interesting that now of any time is, I guess, as good as any to make a Mario movie. But I was talking to Adam looking into it. Nintendo used to just franchise their licenses in the 90s. Whoever the fuck. You want to make a Mario movie? Sure. And then they did. And they're like, okay, never do that again. But now it's 30 years later. And now is the time for an animated Mario movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess. Yeah.
They're far enough detached from the original that they can give it another go. Plus, it's animated.
Am I wrong
Makes all
in
the
thinking
difference,
that there
right?
are a bunch of animated Mario things that already exist, like movies that are straight
Not
to
official
fucking
No, they're-
DVD? Or,
Nintendo
There are.
things?
So, official Nintendo, they had the Mario and Luigi show.
so yeah, it's like a
Yeah, but
Saturday
that came
morning
out,
cartoon
in the
kind of thing.
90s. I'm talking about
Mario
Bros.
recent?
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about recent.
And I mean, they had the Pokemon movies. But that was made. I don't
Pokemon
know.
is not Mario.
It's Nintendo. I'm just thinking of Nintendo franchise films.
Sonic.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
No.
It's not
well,
who's
It's not
making.
Nintendo.
Nintendo,
Sega.
and it's-
Well, I would,
And obviously, Nintendo doesn't have an in-house movie making team. I don't know who's making this Mario movie. I should have looked into that.
Oh, it's the same people who are it's the same studio that did
It's okay. Take a breath.
Despicable Me.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think I did see that.
Who the fuck did that?
I mean,
I would
we can-
assume that was like Pixar
It's
or
not,
DreamWorks or Pixworks.
Internet's failing me.
I mean, at the end-
Dreamar.
At the, end,
Dream.
at the end of the day, it sounds like it's in at least good hands.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Despicable Me is a
We'll
movie.
see.
That's accurate.
The internet is telling me. Production studio.
Anyway,
I have been, as the resident only MOBA player, I tried out Illumination Entertainment Universal Pictures. Made
Yeah.
Despicable Me.
Okay.
Okay, that's a mouthful. I've been playing Pokemon Unite. It's Nintendo's new MOBA, released on the mobile platforms. It's been on Switch for a while. And it's plagued by all the same problems MOBAs normally have. But
People that don't know how to play MOBAs.
yeah.
Everybody's jungling mid.
Well, the jungler, their layout of their maps seems to almost want to push the jungler out of the jungle and into a lane, which is great for a lot of quick, easy ganks. But what it usually means is on your 5-man team, I go to top lane as the tank with my ADC, and then my jungler just spends the whole game in the bottom lane while their jungler spends the whole game in my top lane.
Right.
And suddenly it's 2v3 for 10 minutes. And it's like, oh, okay.
What is a jungler? I've never played a MOBA.
So the 5 rules in a traditional MOBA map, you can see there are 2 lanes on the outside, a lane down the middle, and the jungle is the spaces in between those 3 lanes, right?
That connects the lanes?
So a traditional map has a top lane up the left side of the edge of the map and over to the top to the enemy base. Bottom lane's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And then you have a middle lane diagonal through,
Yeah.
and the 2 spaces in between those are the jungle. Does that make sense?
So you know that picture with the stairs all going every which fucking direction? That's
Yeah.
what you just fucking described to me.
You guys
so
need to take, this is super basic geometry. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Jungle's the space in between. So mid lane's usually like a mage that get really big and powerful.
So the lanes
the
aren't
game?
actually like a closed off tunnel. It's just
not typically.
implying
There are
like-
walls, but there are spaces where you can get into the jungle or out.
Okay.
from
Okay.
it, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, usually have 2 people going in one lane. It's like a tank and the ADC, attack damage carry. Somebody who's super weak early game and they snowball and become high attack speed or high crit late game. The mid is usually a pretty tanky survival mage because they have to be by themselves a lot. They usually have a lot of control or high burst damage. The other lane is usually a solo lane where you have the bruiser or the warrior that has a lot of health regen, and they're kind of their own tank, but they can also do some decent damage. And then the jungler is the one who
Goes where he's
goes
needed.
and ganks and joins a lane to push and all that. So you've got that traditional role in a much different map that's much smaller. And yeah, but, you're playing casuals. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing because they can't be bothered to look up a 3-minute video on YouTube how to play the game. And then your ability to communicate, which is paramount in MOBAs, is you're limited to like 5 voice lines. Help me, I'm going top lane, gather here. And the here is just you. You can't even like ping a spot, right?
I think I heard someone talking about like there's no voice communication at all.
Oh no,
or-
you can talk in the lobby before the match starts if you want to open your like widescreen keyboard and try to type out a message.
Well, there's no voice communication in most games on the Switch too. Just
Yeah.
period.
So, I mean, I understand. You don't want to do voice comms because then you get the toxic behavior and whatnot. Nintendo's not going to allow that.
Yeah.
But on top of that, there was bugs with 2 of the Pokemon, allowed one to easily do 5 to 10 times as much damage as they should be exploits. The other one had like their ultimate cooldown, pretty much no cooldown. And Nintendo just, like, everyone's clamoring, can you turn these guys off, like at least on ranked, until the big update in 5 days? And it took a few days for them to announce that they're going to do it. When the big update comes out for one of them, it's just a clusterfuck. And I was like, why am I even doing this? So, Mario movie.
Can I put in a little a little good news in this Nintendo sandwich?
No.
Okay. Well, then
Next topic.
I'll just wait.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The thing I saw that made me most excited was the new Nintendo Online member plan and the games you could play with it. They are bringing back classic 64 and Sega Genesis games. What? So, I mean, have you wanted to relive Echo the Dolphin? Those tales? Maybe. Do you want to do it with
Maybe
friends?
figure out
That
how
was
that
Sega?
game's played.
Yeah, I know. I never
it
figured it
Sega?
out when I was a
think so.
child.
But-
I was like, I'm a dolphin and I blast sharks with my mind beams.
Do you even encounter sharks? Like I don't remember being able to get out of like the starting pool of water.
I remember I swam around a little bit. In any case, Star Fox 64, we're going to be able to zip around, do barrel rolls, and shoot your friends right out of the sky. F-Zero X, what the shit? Are you kidding me? I get to play that again, maybe. I mean, what? Mario Kart 64. I don't know. Like some of these games were like what I broke my teeth on being like 3D gaming. So to see some of these coming out, that's really cool. It's really punching that nostalgia button hard. And I thought Nintendo
Flicking your nostalgia bean.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's so
Flicking that bean.
It's so apparent that you just started PC gaming because this is like we've been downloading
love it.
emulators since we were like 12. You know,
Well,
so-
you know,
Well, not only are you getting the new computer stuff, you're getting to relive this other stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
I love that his first go-to for this new Nintendo thing is Echo the Dolphin, which
I
I am
know.
correct,
Well,
came out on
I
the
mean-
Sega.
So,
It wasn't
but they're releasing a whole bunch of
Yeah,
Sega
they're-
games
yeah,
as
yeah,
part
I
of
know,
the
just like
service.
of all the classic
Yeah.
Nintendo
but like
games.
there's Castlevania, Sonic 2. I mean, like and more to be released. So it seems pretty cool. I thought their new Mario Party announcement was pretty awesome because again, they're bringing back N64 maps, and
Yeah.
that's like those were the maps that I had the most fun on. I played the most Mario Party on a Nintendo 64.
We all did.
Yeah.
Right?
have this scar
So
to show for
if
it.
I'm gonna
Right.
fucking play more Mario Party, I see it happening on those fucking maps. So
Yeah.
I mean, like they
It's so hard to jungle in the new maps.
tickled it is. And they tickled my nostalgia bean in an appropriate manner. I also thought the new Metroid Dread looked pretty awesome. Getting back to getting back to her roots, being a
love
side-scrolling
Metroid.
badass
Yeah.
adventure. I don't know. I thought it looked good. So there were some neat things that I thought Nintendo did. And then there was a couple of previews where I was just like, is this a Zoomer having a stroke? What the fuck am I watching? Splatoon 3. Splatoon.
Like Splat and cartoon.
Yeah, Splatoon.
Splatoon.
Splatoon. Like that was, yeah. That,
a very
that one
popular
it just,
game.
It just confused me.
Yes.
It just confused me.
It's Overwatch with paint.
Yes.
Yep.
And I
good
don't
way
know.
to think about
I've never played Bayonetta, but it looks like it has a little bit of everything. You want to fucking capture a kaiju demon Pokemon? You got it. You want to be a sexy lady with too big of boobies? I mean,
Too big
Too
of
big of
boobies.
boobies.
Like,
Like,
is that
I'm just saying,
too big boobies or your boobs are too big? I don't know.
Was it an A or an OF?
No.
It
Too
was-
big of boobies?
I'm just saying she could feed a family of 8 and still open up her own Baskin Robbins.
Wait,
Jesus.
And like she's fighting kaijus, she's got guns and high heels. It looked fun. I didn't understand what the fuck
sounds
was
like
going
she
on.
wears a lot
but
of hats.
The
was
scary
a
thing
thing.
was
And
is
leather.
I like, immediately thought, like, how many nipples does she have?
I thought of the flavors. It's Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors, right? 21?
Man.
Bayonetta's got so many flavors.
I'm just saying.
Check werewolffacts.com for the flavors of Bayonetta.
How many nipples does a Bayonetta have?
And I don't know. I watched a little bit for Super Smash Bros, which is just another. I mean,
They're not
I
making
don't.
a new
I mean,
one.
I don't know why you get excited about any of this stuff because none of us get together and play Nintendo
Yeah.
games because we're lame.
Maybe we should.
We own
We
two
definitely
Switches
should.
between the four of us, so
Yeah, Adam's got one.
yeah.
That's a million. Like you only need 4 little.
yeah, the Joy Cons
Yep.
are happy co's or
Little-
whatever
little
they're called.
Happy.
Joy-Cons.
Joy-Cons was right.
Yes. Yeah, you
That's
got it.
kinda-
Nailed it.
Nailed
Yeah.
it. But something like dude, literally everybody is in Smash Bros. They got fucking Solid Snake. They got fucking Ryu. They got, I mean,
Echo the Dolphin.
Echo the Dolphin. Sonic is also in Super Smash
Look,
Bros.
I got all of them right here.
It's
Pull up. You can play.
you can play as fucking Pac-Man.
You can.
Yeah.
Also, the big announcement for a new Smash Bros was
So,
like
I
a massive
mean-
increase in the roster.
No, I think he's just
everyone-
The new one is Ultimate, which
pretty
has been
much
on the Switch for a while.
Anyone who's been in a Smash Bros game is going to be in this one.
I
because
thought they
some
always
people-
just added more. I didn't know they took people out.
they
Well, they've
apparently-
made what 3 regular,
four?
melee, brawl, ultimate. So is that 4 of them?
That's pretty
Yeah.
dope, dude.
Yeah, and they don't. I mean, they keep at like each one has a bigger roster than the last, but it takes some time to add. And a lot of the Nintendo Directs will come out with like the new character that's going to be coming out this quadrant for
Sure.
Smash Brothers, and there's always this huge gathering of is it going to be Banjo Kazooie? Is
Yeah.
it going to be?
Yeah. I'm familiar with the
Yeah.
hype. I just didn't. I didn't know if they had like a rotating roster because like I don't know the significance of this announcement.
I just felt that they definitely. I mean, because I laughed a lot with that Mario movie announcement, but I did feel like they got some things right with the Nintendo Direct there.
Oh well,
I don't feel like they mashed as many buttons as PlayStation did.
Sounds like Goose and Chat's kind of late, like the whole Smash announcement. Licensing issues. Some characters were absent from later games. Ultimate solves this, so all the characters that had to be phased out are coming back.
Looks like they're up to 81.
What the fuck?
And you can play as Steve from Minecraft.
Or Alex.
I'm sad I even know that there's a Steve from Minecraft.
You can play Josh from Video Game Tango.
You can play Duck Hunt from Duck
Yes.
Hunt.
You can play Duck Hunt.
You're the dog and the bird.
Yeah.
Oh,
Forgot
that'd just be the
about
gun.
that.
Oh, dude. Okay, like,
Shoot
if
people
I-
on the screen.
that
Come at me,
fucking-
bro.
Dude, that fucking Duck Hunt dog. Fuck him.
Well, I
Fuck
know what character I will always choose if we're
Fuck
playing.
that guy.
100%.
Yeah.
Just gonna piss Josh off in Smash Bros by being the dog.
Well, in less
Colin
fun
pisses off by being
news,
Kirby.
because I am a Debbie Downer, Blizzard finally reached a settlement with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission over their sexual harassment claims and lawsuits.
Yes.
$18 million they're going to have to pay out of their $1 billion year revenue
$18 million doesn't.
To who?
to make amends to eligible claimants, and any amount not used will be donated to charities that advance women in the video game industry or other things.
Huh.
Okay.
So, one kind of note on that is one of their 5 major lawsuits that are going on. Also, that was done in a day. The lawsuit was filed and the settlement was made in a single day.
That's cool. They should have taken longer and charged them more.
Well, honestly, probably a good thing they didn't, because now the lawyers representing the equal employment opportunity are going to make less money, and hopefully,
how that works.
and hopefully more money just goes to where it's supposed to be.
The victims.
Yeah. I mean, considering I think it was Kotick made $144 million this year is what I was reading.
Dropped his salary and
154.
paid himself a massive bonus.
Mm.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
Because one of those makes headlines, the other one doesn't.
You have any more good news, or did I win? Because I got more coming.
Well, I mean, we could intersperse it with. I did find a magical gun that I didn't get to use.
In real life?
No, in New World.
Okay.
That's good news. But let's go. We can wade right into the bad news. You know, that's really, that dude should make no money. Like anything,
Kotick?
like anything he was paid this year, that should go to the victims. 18 million does not seem, and I understand there's 5 other suits, so maybe they're going to lose some more. Like,
Just add a 0 to every suit. Just keep it going.
In all likelihood, except for the ones that they're trying to fight to save face, they're probably going to be kind of middling settlements. I mean, when you look at $18 million, you also have to remember that they have some of the world's biggest games, all of which have, not all of which, but some of which have subscription services. All of them have pay for freemium content, or paid for content, rather. So, at the end of the day, $18 million
Slap on the
is
wrist.
just chump change.
it honestly makes me certainly don't want to go home and play Overwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop giving them your money.
Instead, we'll play the Amazon game.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, give it to Bezos.
No complaints as far as I know. Amazon is a perfect company.
Yeah.
100%.
They
Known
haven't
for their
had any issues.
humanitarian practices.
Yep.
Yeah,
Really
absolutely.
taking care of their employees.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those pee bottles in their delivery trucks, that's just for convenience.
And I think
Who
now
hasn't done
that
that?
Bezos took his phylactery to space, we don't have anything to worry about.
On that wiener rocket.
Yeah, oh, God.
The Bezos Wiener rocket.
Yeah.
Taking his lich phylactery to the moon.
Andy, Russ, do either of
We
you
did it.
use goodoldgames.com, GOG?
I have.
Okay, yeah. Well known as a Steam alternative for notably DRM free games, digital rights management. It's essentially extraneous
Anti-piracy
software,
software.
anti-piracy stuff that's designed to keep people from being able to pirate games. It's been a whole thing since at least Stardock back in the 2000s. It usually means that the people who legitimately pay for the game have troubles playing it, and the people that don't still manage to pirate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Good Old Games is known for not only making it really easy to install and pick up old games, 80s, 90s. They're cheap. They work well. So if they need a DOS box, it automatically runs and does all that stuff. But then the DRM was also a huge draw. You don't have to worry about that. Once you buy the game, you own it. You can download on computers. How many you got? Well, they recently put Hitman, I think the newest one, up on Good Old Games. And the problem is, yes, you can buy the game and you can play it. But if you want to unlock almost any of the items, weapons, outfits, starting locations, and not start like every map of the few you have available with nothing, you have to connect online through a form of DRM. And because of that, a lot of people have been review bombing the ever-living hell out of the game on GOG. And GOG decided to do the wrong thing, in my opinion, and say that they will not stand for it. And they're going to remove reviews as well as maybe perhaps some other weird threats to people who continue to review bomb the game because of this DRM thing. That's not how you beat the internet.
Yeah.
In my experience online, you don't push back against the raving mob and it ever goes well, especially when you're a smaller company that's, trying to compete with Epic and Steam and the Microsoft Game Store. So
It's not. It doesn't sound like it's their doing though, right?
no, but they chose to put the game up knowing at the time that a lot of the content of the game is locked behind this online DRM. And as someone who's like touted being DRM free entirely 100% all the time ever since GOG's been around, this is considered by a lot as a huge slap in the face, potentially like a slippery slope and other issues. And then of course these people, right or not, are getting even more mad that GOG's pushing back against it. So more internet drama.
Video games are just a constant source of drama.
Does buying the game and then having to have it check online then disqualify you from being able to connect to that stuff because you bought the game somewhere else? Or it's just
don't
the
fully
concept.
understand. It's a form of DRM.
Okay. Honestly, I didn't know that that's what their main branding focus was anti-DRM.
It was just
versions
one of
of
the
games.
things. I know GOG for being able to pick up old games and have them run flawlessly.
Yeah.
And the site's great, and I love using it. But
I thought it was just like cheap games.
they are usually really cheap. I mean, anytime, like if they have a game that Steam also has, you can be pretty assured that the prices are going to be the same. So if Steam goes on sale, they put it on sale for the same.
Now, Russ, are you thinking of G2A?
I don't know. Maybe.
You might be. 'Cause GOG, I mean, they do have good game sales, and they do often have decently priced games. They work with Humble Bundle quite a bit, but G2A is the cheap game place.
So with this GOG thing, are you paying less or the same for the game that you would be like, say, on Steam?
It's usually the same price, but they also have access to some games that Steam doesn't.
Okay.
Noticeably, their back catalog of old computer
Hitman,
games.
in this case, is not going to be that though, right?
Hitman's not going to be what?
It's not going to be. It's going to be on Steam, and it should be.
It is already on
right?
Steam, as far as I
Yeah,
know.
It should be the same, like the same price then, right?
Well, they're not beholden.
The price isn't the
Okay.
concern. I mean,
So,
they usually have
but
the
if
same
I-
price just to make sure that people are
But
also.
if I buy the game on Steam, I'm not going to have those same restrictions.
No, you do.
You
do.
Yeah, you have those same restrictions,
It's
but the
not-
problem is those restrictions carried over to GOG.
think
Which
it's
is
a
not supposed
analogy.
to have DRM restrictions.
Okay,
That's their thing.
so if I buy the game on Steam, am I going to be able to get the weapons that we're talking about here?
You cannot unlock. I don't know the specific weapons off the top of my head, but there's a lot of weapons, outfits, other items that you can't permanently unlock in the game. You have to earn over and over again, as far as I understood it, unless you connect to their online DRM thing to check to make sure like you have a legitimate CD key. It pings their online servers.
Oh, okay. But if if you've bought the game on Steam, then that's no problem to do then.
Well,
Or
Steam's
is it-
never been a no DRM platform. It's
Yeah.
assumed that there's going to be DRM
In
based
fact,
games.
they have their own DRM.
I think I'm having trouble understanding where.
Let's think about it this way. Let's say there was a cell phone store that promised that they would never allow apps on their store that ever access your microphone. And that's what one of the things they're known for is like a Samsung competitor, right? And then one day they allow an app to connect to your video camera. It's like it's close to connecting your mic, and you're like, well, you kind of said that you never were going to do this, and like, yeah, well, it's not quite exactly that. And it's like, well, I feel it's like that. Does that make sense?
I would look at it like when they announced the last Xbox, when they said that it was going to have an always online feature that would check to make sure that you had a legitimate copy of the games that you were playing every time you played it. So it'd be comparable to like you own an Xbox already, and then one day Microsoft is like, okay, now your Xbox has to be online to play in a game. That's what DRM is essentially, is that checking to make sure you have valid copies of the stuff.
Okay.
So this website prides itself on not having to do that DRM stuff.
So like you wouldn't have to be like online.
Yeah,
or?
it wouldn't need to go
okay.
online to check.
No
So
online
you could just play
checks.
it. You could just play it anywhere.
Play it however you want,
okay.
wherever
You own
you
the
want,
game.
whenever you want.
Okay.
Your
A
game.
lot of people do these.
Okay.
Use good old games because they have a shoddy internet connection, or they don't have a constant internet connection, or they have old computers. So some of that concern is legitimate.
And so it's more akin to that the console game. You bought it on. It's like
You have
it's
a-
yours. You
almost
can
like a
play it whenever the
physical
fuck you
copy.
want.
Yeah.
It's essentially a physical copy.
Yeah.
and the
So
important thing is,
Hitman plays the same across
Okay,
wherever
now,
you get it.
Now I see where we're fucking getting at here. I totally missed the bus.
it was a
on
lot
that
of
first
jargon,
part.
a lot of inside baseball.
You also haven't been on the PC for
Yeah,
the last
no,
20
I know.
years.
It's
Yeah.
like,
You're
this
not
has
familiar
been-
with DRM.
This has been a real learning experience for Josh tonight. He's heard new terms. He's talked about new things.
Well, the crux of the DRM, like, and why most of us hate it, is precisely because it never stops piracy, so it doesn't work to do the thing that it's supposed to do, and a lot of times just causes issues for you trying to play your game.
And one of my biggest complaints is a lot of these DRM things have to connect to some outside server to verify your copy. And then you have the problem of game companies creating games, and then the company shuts down, and those servers shuts down, and now you can no longer play the game. That happens kind of frequently. And there hasn't been a lot of AAA games that I can think of off the top of my head, but we're losing game history. You're losing the ability, like I know it was bad, but the second Spore game, there was that All Points Bulletin shooter, those games that come out. And then once those connection DRM servers are down, you can't ever play the game again. And then you have issues where like Walmart's still selling copies of the game in the store, but if you were to buy it, you wouldn't be able to play it, and a lot of the DRM, I think they put on there just for like the few initial weeks when the game comes out to curb that initial piracy in hopes of making back this faux proxy meta money that may or may not exist. Because when I pirate games, it's because I'm broke.
Yeah, I'm not going to buy the
Yeah.
game.
Right. If I have money, like I used to use GOG all the time. I check, do they have it in as well as Steam? Then I'm going to get it on good old games. Right, it's kind of a side thing, but I like to support indie devs. But if I don't have money, I might pirate your game, and then if I do have money, I will pay for it. So
It's pretty much how it's always worked for me.
mm-hmm.
If I can afford it, you get my money. If I can't, then I'm either going to pirate it or I just won't partake.
Yep.
Speaking of weird old games and stuff like that, we're getting an Age of Empires 4 this month in October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the first
very
new Age
exciting.
of Empires in like 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
They
And
came out with the remaster a couple years ago that did really well.
Mhm.
I'm kind of curious. So, like, I haven't actually looked at any of it yet, but I'm like, is that a thing that will fit in our modern day? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be?
For the people that play those games, yeah, they've been thirsting for it, Timberborn, have you guys heard of that?
I've been watching a lot of it. Yeah,
Yeah, man, that looks good.
it's
What is it?
a RimWorld with beavers.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was going to say, I wonder if it's the Beaver game. My friend was talking about
Beaver
today,
game.
where it's a city building game, but you play as
It's
a beaver.
colony
and-
management
yeah,
game.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
play as
Simulation.
beavers. After humans die, the beavers gain sentience over however long, and the crux of the game is you go through wet and dry seasons, and they get progressively worse. So you have to manage your water, and you have to build dams on rivers
Wonder
to
what
flood
that's
plains, and managing water. Oh, you'll find out. Give it another couple decades.
Yeah.
But no, it looks pretty good. It's
Let's see what
pretty
we can
classic
finish it off.
colony management game. I'll watch.
I'll have
maybe
to
about an hour of
look
it.
at it. It sounds kind of interesting.
It looks fun. Yeah.
Beaver Rim World.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's not nearly as complicated.
No.
It's a colony management
Yeah.
game is really what I meant. But yeah, I did see some Age of Empires 4 gameplay when it first dropped, and
Now,
it's like a really fucking pretty RTS.
I was gonna say, it's like it's gonna be. I think that's gonna be fun. That looks fun. I mean,
Did you ever play any real-time strategy games?
I
Command and
played
Conquer,
StarCraft. So I played StarCraft, but I mean, throw me some Kniggets and
Yeah.
whatnot in there, where you can command.
One thing Age of Empires was lauded for so well is it was just finely
charge.
tuned. The game was so much fun in PvP playing against other players because it was just extremely well balanced. The design space of the individual factions wasn't huge, so there wasn't a lot of room to fuck up. But even still, to this day, I mean, even before they remastered Age of Empires 2 or whatever that came out a couple years ago, it had a pretty decent, thriving competitive scene. But yeah, as you can see, you
Looks
work
pretty.
your way through the ages. Very pretty.
Hot damn!
I wonder if it'll run well, because notoriously those fucking tiny unit army games, as soon as they start upping all the graphics on them, just start running like fucking mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their processor destroyers, man.
I mean, I think about as they continually tried to advance the graphics of the Command and Conquer series, it got jankier and jankier and harder to run, even on like good current gen hardware.
Which is weird because I never felt like they were fucking like pushing the envelope there, visually speaking.
They even weren't like. So the last
No.
one I think I played was I think it was Generals.
That was the last one I played too.
Yeah, where you played as like either
I
the
could tell
terrorists,
you.
the Chinese, or like the Americans. It was like the three factions I think
Yeah.
you played as, and it looked terrible, but played like it was trying to run some sort of gorgeous work of art game. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the malfunction here, guys? My tank's like 4 polygons. Like, I'm like
Yeah, they kind of rotted out from underneath themselves. It was a dying genre.
Sadly,
yeah.
It got turned into MOBAs.
Still waiting for my Alpha Centauri remake though.
Oh, I'm afraid.
Maybe one day. The other two games I think that are slated for October is Far Cry 6. So
Yeah.
if you're a Far Cry fan, that's now's the time to play Far Cry again with a different skin,
Well,
and different voice actors.
yeah. I
will.
mean, a lot of the best parts of Far Cry are just the narrative and the.
I know.
well, it's,
Yes,
not it's not the narrative; it's the characters.
Crazy villains.
Yeah.
At least one
Yeah.
set of tits per game, right?
I mean, and
Climbing
what is it?
towers.
Giancarlo Esposito. You know who I'm talking about? Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
The guy from Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
Yeah, Despacito.
Definition of insanity. He was a fantastic character.
So okay, that could be good. The
Right.
last one seems like they did a pretty good job with it. So
That dude, I mean,
Boss.
he's typecast, but I mean, nobody plays. I mean, other than that German guy that was in Django.
I think they only typecast him since he
Mm.
played Gustavo
Davis?
Fring, but before that he wasn't.
Yeah, but no, I mean, like he's yeah, but like he nails that fucking bad guy character.
Yeah, that dude's
Pando,
scary.
Yeah, like it's just that look. It's good.
Did you know he was in Usual Suspects?
I did not.
He's one of the detectives that's working the
Oh,
case.
So not the bad guy.
He's very young looking.
Okay.
You're thinking of Giancarlo Esposito. Voss,
Everyone is but you.
Yeah.
you were talking about the villain from Far Cry, right?
The new Far Cry.
Yeah,
6.
from 6.
I was thinking about Far Cry 3.
Everyone's talking about the same thing but you.
But
You're
me.
either doing things wrong.
To be fair, he was the best villain in any of the Far Cries.
Well, maybe until now.
No, unless they bring him back. Josh, did you watch the YouTube series of Voss from Far Cry 3 and McLovin?
No.
So the actor who plays McLovin,
Yeah.
like this real life recorded film series, he goes on like a cruise, and the ship gets attacked by pirates, and he gets captured, and he's captured by the voice actor who plays the villain from Far Cry 3, who's playing that villain. And it's a series of like camera things of them fucking with him. They get him buried up to his head, and they're putting scorpions in a bucket, putting over.
Okay.
It's hilarious. I'll have
Bless
to
you.
show it to you.
Excuse me.
But worth a watch.
Oh yeah.
So I know Josh listens to Behind the Bastards podcast. Have you listened to it at all, Nick?
Nope.
Okay. I know Andy doesn't.
Nope.
Andy doesn't podcast stuff. He's too busy with our podcast.
Yeah.
Feel free to talk about it, though.
No, I was just going to bring up somebody mentioned McLovin, and I was going to say there's the guest that he has on for some of his episodes was the younger guy.
Garrison, I think.
I think his name is Garrison. He is McLovin in my head. He sounds
that's
exactly
that's my
like the guy.
headcanon also.
I had to Google it because I'm like, oh wow, that's kind of crazy. Does he have literally the actor that plays McLovin on his podcast? Is that guy like secretly like a podcast buff and history buff too? And it's not the same guy.
But
It's
it does look
somebody.
like him.
It doesn't even look like him, but he sounds exactly like the actor who plays McLovin, like in the same mannerisms, that like hyper manic, like
Yeah.
talking.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
Well, that's
Is
a mouthful.
McLovin?
No,
That's his
McLovin
Okay.
is his name.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was going to look up the guy from Behind the
Garrison
Bastards
something
because
or
he's
other.
also got like a social media presence, and it'd be good to give him a shout out, but I can't find it easily. So
Robert Evans.
Garrison. No, I know Robert Evans. I know that guy. Let's see. Paul F. Tompkins has been on 4 episodes. I got to find those. That guy's phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Garrison
I know who
Davis.
he is,
Garrison Davis is the guy that sounds like McLovin. So shout out Behind the Bastards podcast. Shout out to Garrison Davis, who's sometimes a guest on there. Sorry, but you sound exactly like McLovin, because that's probably not a good thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, it's not. It's not ideal. I associate you with like a
didn't say great.
pasty little Jewish boy. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
Didn't say great. It's fine.
Shout out to werewolffacts.com.
Werewolffacts.com.
That's how I found out about
/
podcasts.
people who look like McLovin.
We could just get sponsored by werewolffacts.com.
Oh my goodness, that would be the best sponsor ever.
I don't.
We keep saying that. It's vampirefacts.net.
Yeah, that's the one. That's awesome.
It's seriously not. It's not werewolffacts.com.
No, we need to pick it up because it's a dead site. I think that
shit.
name is available.
Shit. Well,
Go
way to
buy
spill the beans.
werewolffacts.com.
There we go.
Well, just don't post this until you've bought the domain.
There's a few people in here that might just do it ahead
Okay, come on, chat. Be cool.
of us. Let us get
Like, be
werewolffacts.com.
cool, man.
So before we wrap up, I want to go back to New World for a second.
Okay.
Let's do it.
We talked about
Back
what
to
we
New
liked.
World.
Is there anything that you guys don't like about New World?
Actually, I don't think the only thing I talked about was a thing that I didn't like, which was the storage system.
That's fair.
I could touch on stuff that I do like. Most of it, to be fair. So far, most of the game feels like I do not like how the quests early on right now are fairly generic.
Yeah.
But that would be fine if I didn't feel like there's no level progression with the quests that make you feel like you're
doing different
going
shit.
where the game would like you to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like it's like, oh, well, I got to make my own choices. No, it means most of the time you spend your time confused about where you should be and where you should be going, and then really irritated when you like work your way questing through a section, travel all the way back, turn those quests in, and they're like, hey, go back to those areas for these other quests to the same exact place that you were just at. And if only we had thought about our quest progression tree, we could have like had you complete multiple quests while you were there. And it's not like the quest chain says go there and then that same quest has you go back. It'll just be entirely different quests. We'll send you back to that same little tiny, like there's a farm, go to that farm. And so, like, you can't even think about how, like, oh, if I had leveled differently, I would have known that it was going to have me work multiple quests in that zone because they don't have that. And
Yeah, that was a problem in Warcraft. I remember having to run around checking, wow, have I picked up every quest that I can at this stage for this area so I don't have to accidentally run back and do it again and again.
Yeah.
And even still, you do like 17 quests, and those would unlock 11 more that you'd still have to go back and do. And I think it's just a way to kill time.
I mean, everything comes down to like
padding.
stretching out the leveling process to fit some sort of time frame.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least with Warcraft, you knew that like you could pick up all the quests that you need would be in that zone.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, more quests might pop up. You might have missed a chain and have to stay there longer than normal. This is more like if you were in like, that's a good example. So say you're in like Thunder Bluff and you have a quest that sends you to
Another zone.
What is the name of the Horde city? I'm drawing
Orgrimmar.
Orgrimmar. So you go to Orgrimmar, and then you go back to Thunder Bluff to finish the quest line, and then they're like, "Hey, this other quest that you were also on now says go to Orgrimmar." And you could have just gone to Orgrimmar for both quests, and both those quests required that you traveled like across an entire zone.
Yeah.
You're like, "Fuck, come on!" I was just there.
Now, I want to kind of compound upon that because I have finished a quest in a place called Arcturus.
Yeah,
Actress, yeah, something like that. I finished a quest there. I turned it in at the syndicate board. I can then pick up that quest again immediately.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have literally back-to-back done that quest. That happened twice. There's another like pirate area that I ended up having to do twice. I finished it, and then I went back to town, and that's when I joined Josh. And then we end up doing the same quest. And actually, I think you had that problem too, Josh.
Well, no. So it was in the same spot. Now I had to go and kill the Revenant, Regent, Pirate Regent, and then it sent me back to the same spot to collect the 4 thingies,
The Philosopher's Stones.
Yeah, the Philosopher's Stones.
Yeah.
Now I had already collected all of those fucking things. I'd already collected all those chests once already when I went and fought the Regent dude. And then they were like, no, get some more. But I mean, I did get more shit. So.
You didn't. So that's another problem. Is if I have 3 cougar pelts in my inventory and the quest is asking for 3 cougar pelts, I should just be able to turn them in. But instead, they add the caveat that kill 3 panthers.
To just say, I did not collect the Philosopher's Stones the first time I raided those chests. I got different supplies. Right. So I did get extra supplies out of it, but that's as I get higher level and less supply starved, that's not going to be enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like, I'm new, so I don't really have any complaints. I'm having a fucking blast and a half out there.
Oh yeah, no, dude, it's still a fun game. Having a blast.
Yeah, but no, I can see how that would be like rough. I'm already like, man, I was just fucking here.
Yeah,
I'll
tell you what,
just fucking here.
It sucks when you use an ability that is like an attack movement ability, so it's going to move your character like towards them or something like that, and you miss.
Oh yeah,
because you don't lock on the character.
Yeah.
It's all active. Like you have to be able to actively hit them. And I have multiple abilities on different weapons that are like a charge or a leap, and there's times where like you just miss and you're like, shit, that was like
that's a 15-second cooldown. So I like the active
real
attacking.
Quick. Do they give you targeters, like ground effects for like where your leap's going to go, or
you
like
just
a fan
aim
attack?
At them. You have a reticule, like you're in a kind of a third.
Sounds like they've
shooter.
taken a lot of ideas from a lot of different MMOs.
Oh, yeah,
like
for sure.
That's all straight from Guild Wars, the active aiming, and like the enemies in Guild Wars too. At least when I played, like all of their attacks, they would show the cones or the circles, like where they're going to do it, and you had to actively dodge. Like everybody had spacebar was a dodge. But Guild Wars 2, for all of its flaws, also solved the quest shit. They made a system so when you go to a new zone, if there are quests to collect 10 bear asses and 13 cougar pelts, if you just get those, then you go to the hub town in that place, and the quest giver there is like, hey, cool, you already got them. Here's the rewards, right? So you could just go into a zone. Well, it sounded like you have quests to go get something, right?
No. So what Andy was going to touch on before Josh went back to talking about his Philosopher's Stones again was that they've added in a quest to where sometimes, yes, you'll get a thing that says, like, this person needs 50 stone. If you have the 50 stone, you're golden.
Yeah.
But say it says, like, we want these pelts, it's going to add to the quest, kill 10 of these, skin 10 of these. So then you're going to have to actively do those tasks, which is weird because, like I said, they do both. So you would think that they would realize that, like, why are half of our quests forcing the player to do a thing if they'd already had it prepared?
It worked out really well in Guild Wars. It was this great game loop where you think of like doing a town run, right? So you would go into a new zone and you would just go whichever way you want. You'd run into the enemies, you'd kill them, you'd loot chests that you'd find hidden up in ledges, and eventually your inventory is full up. And then when you go back to town, you just turn on all the quests you didn't know you even had finished.
Yeah.
And you would upgrade your gear, and then you just go back out and be like, I'm going to go to this zone now, because there was like no real limit, at least once you got past the early area. So.
I assume the argument against that system is to prevent power leveling, because eventually someone knows exactly what you need before you go into a town or area, in which case they can just expedite their leveling process. Fair. But I mean, if somebody wants to go through that work to power level, then just fucking let them. Like they obviously have to read a guide or practice enough to get to that point.
Or the game is just old now and the knowledge is already there.
Yeah, the info is out, which I mean, fuck, that takes a day.
That's true.
I think about how many YouTube videos were like about like starting up a new world. I'm like, man, this game's like not even out, and people are like, here's how to play the game. But I mean, there's something to be said about the multiple betas, but
I think back to WoW. I mean, not even before WoW. You used to get an XP penalty if you played too much.
Yeah.
And then they moved it to an XP bonus if you didn't play enough. Right? And they're like, oh, wait, the stick isn't working. Or carrot.
What do we do?
So I have one. So I have a complaint to voice. Not a complaint. I have a worry. I don't think the combat is interesting. I think it's fun because it's new. We're still gaining abilities. I don't think there are enough abilities to carry the game forward for any kind of longevity. I think the combat is just kind of boring.
Okay. Do you think they could add combat abilities?
Absolutely. I think they could add. I think they could definitely flesh out the combat a little bit more, add more abilities. I think absolutely. Now with their kind of like their UI. I don't know what Josh just did. But.
He touched the screen and clicked on a flaccid Darth Maul lightsaber while I was trying to Google something.
So I'm not sure how they'd have to change the UI or at least the like keybinds, because currently you can only use 3 abilities. So you can actually learn more than that in your skill tree, but you can only have 3 equipped.
Is there I don't know, maybe
work.
Yeah.
Have you tried equipping a 4th one yet in that tree?
No.
Turns out you just keep equipping them.
No, well, like I mean, maybe it's going to make a drop-down menu. So
it doesn't. Yeah. So you can go to your skill book and move something to one of your 3 active buttons.
Okay.
Right. At least that's how I understand it based on the YouTube video that I watched.
You can change skills fly on the fly in combat?
Kinda. I mean, you'll have to hit K, go to attribute or not attributes. Weapon mastery, and then choose the weapon that's currently equipped, and then drag that over. So it's something that you want to be kind of prepared for. I don't think it's super good for on the fly changes.
I don't know if you can change respec out of your skills if you're in combat or not, but I definitely know you cannot do it while any of your abilities are on cooldown.
Oh, okay.
Any of them? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we have 3. So.
Yeah.
Well, like if you could change out the 2 that aren't on cooldown.
No, well, like you have to respec, which is pointing out your skill tree entirely. Okay. Now, I'd be curious if they make it possible down the road to where maybe if you carry 2 of the same weapon type, you could have them on different skill trees.
Yeah, probably.
That, and that might give you that's doubling the amount of actions.
Well, could you though? Because I don't know that you could, because you can still change your skill tree while you're using your like offhand. So you can change your main hand while you're using your offhand, right? So I think your skills are set for that weapon type, not the one you're
I know they are currently. I'm saying like a possible expansion
later.
abilities
Sure,
later on,
yeah.
You could have 2 sets of the same weapon.
Right.
Well, I also think the combats and the weapon stuff is a little basic right now because they want it's free to respec shit. So I think they want you to
until
try,
level 20.
Yeah, I think they want you to try multiple paths, try multiple weapons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm still new, so I'm waiting in with open eyes and a full heart. So
listen, I am totally satisfied with the game. I want to go back and play some more of it. That's number one thing on my docket.
Word.
That being said, as I'm thinking ahead,
just trying to
go looking at the longevity. I've been through this a few times and I've been hurt.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
And it's Nick and I were talking about it outside on our break. Is just the real test for this game is going to come a few months down the road to like a year, when you look at the game and you say like, okay, you have a solid base, you had a lot of players that are interested, you built a solid engine, great launch, all that jazz. Where are you now?
Yeah.
And if the content's not there and the players have gotten fed up and the community's not being listened to or the combat's bland, these are all killers.
Yep.
These are all MMO killers. And so hopefully Amazon's like got a game plan about staying on top of this kind of shit.
Yep.
And keeping the game fresh and relevant and not hoping for just a cheap money grab through microtransactions.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll have plenty more to talk about it later. Yeah. But it is about time to wrap up. Do you guys have any final things you want to talk about?
Join us. We are on Kashira Shigara, which is a West Coast server. If you guys want to join us.
My name is Rodrigo Montoyes. You killed my family. I promise vengeance.
Feel free to drop us a line on any of the social media stuff if you want invites to the groups, parties, or the company. We joined Syndicate because it sounded cool. It's like some Illuminati shit.
Yep.
Come play some New World with us.
In lieu of Josh's quote, I'm going to throw out a wizards are never late, nor are they early. They show up after coffee. Just slightly wrong.
Yeah. Remember, follow us on Twitch. That subscribe button's coming.
You'll see.
Check out our YouTube. Go to Facebook, Twitter, all the things. Click all that stuff. We love you.
Yes,
see you next time.
Goodbye.